Hey everybody, I'm Carla.
And I'm Cesar.
Welcome back to another episode of Carla and Cesar's Modern Life.
Episode 30.
Hey,
Hell
we
yeah,
made it to 30.
We made it to 30, just like me this year.
Caught up to you real quick.
Yep. And we're still here doing it. It's been a busy week for us, like we always have, but this time it was because we did some fun stuff, right? How do you feel after that?
I feel good. I feel refreshed and inspired.
Yes, and because we make you feel refreshed and inspired, you should give us a like right now, comment, subscribe to the channel if you have the ability to. And
yes, please.
Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about our trips. You want to go with you can talk about your trip first.
Yeah, so I went to Cabo for basically a day and a half, and It was worth it. It was super quick, but it was like a meaningful experience for sure. I haven't been to many bachelorettes actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, how many opportunities? Like, it's because you're in a place where your friends are not getting married yet. Like,
That's true.
We don't have that many married friends.
It's true.
We have some, but not a lot. So it makes sense why you wouldn't.
Yeah. So this was possibly my first. I'm sorry for my memory. I have a terrible memory. But anyways, it was great. I'm glad I decided to go because, my boss was like encouraging me to do it because he was saying like, you won't get too many experiences like this. Like, and if this is one of your close friends, if it's somebody you really care about, like, it's important to be there.
Yeah.
And so that helped. And because it's hard for me to like justify things like spending money on myself, but this is, I think, easier for me to justify because it was also for my friend.
And I think your friend appreciated you being there.
Yeah. And it ended up being so fun, and it makes me want to go back for sure. Maybe not so much to the touristy areas, but definitely to the area. Like, the water was beautiful, and
you guys stayed at an Airbnb.
We did.
That's cool.
It was really nice. It was a really nice house with like levels because it was like on the rocks. So it was really nice. It had a pool. Beautiful sunset view.
Beautiful. Yeah. So the same day.
Good choice, Dina. Sorry.
Shout out to Dina. Yeah. So while you were doing that, I was at a concert for 2 days. The Saint No Picnic. I'm wearing the hat right now, as you can see. It was a 2-day music festival at the Rose Bowl. And it was like outside of the Rose Bowl, like on the golf course, and it was really fun. 2 days of now that I think about it, it was like, I guess it was all early 2000s alternative, basically. That's what, because LCD Sound System and the Strokes were popular around that time. So that was the two headliners, and that's why they built below that. So the band that got back together the day the LCD played was the Tigre. And that was a band that was popular during that time as well. But then they would have like newer bands like Turnstile and then Mac DeMarco. And so it was a good mix.
Range.
Yeah. And they would have hip hop in there too. So the Yin Yang Twins were there.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And then it was a
I
girl
wish I would have seen
sweatshirt.
them.
Yeah. The Yin Yang Twins, they're good. They're just old now.
Do they still have a lot of energy?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And they can like bring it to the crowd. Everybody was hyped, dancing to it.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I was pretty far away.
Did people run from where? Oh no, that's a different song. The meme about people running to the dance floor when the song comes on, but that's
a different one.
Different song. But I feel like their songs are also like that.
Yeah, and they did all the songs that you would expect them to do. So they did like the Whisper song, and they did Get Low.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so that was cool. And then I saw like some younger people, like Phoebe Bridgers. She was really good. Her
intro song?
Her intro was Get Down with the Sickness, but Disturbed. And so yeah, it was cool to go out there, and it's not that far because that week I had to drive a lot to LA, and I was like, man, I could start doing more stuff over here. Like, why not? So, and I was able to drive myself, back, and then I was able to pick you up in the airport after, so it worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
So,
who was your favorite performance?
Probably LCD Sound System, because I had been listening to their music all this year, and so it was really fun to see that, because I had seen the Strokes, and the Strokes did better than the last time I saw them, which was like in 2014. So they were good, and they were like, I guess, the second best because they were the biggest ones. That's why I bought the ticket, and then everybody else was just a plus.
Nice.
I did get to see Sparks too.
Oh, that's right. You also discovered them recently.
Yeah, they were. I just watched a documentary about them, and they're just these guys from the '80s that have like a bunch of music. So that was fun, and that was weird to watch. And yeah,
that's cool.
Definitely worth it. I went for it.
I'm glad you went.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said this before already. Was when the pandemic happened, I listened to the Strokes a lot, and then LCD Sound System, and I was like, first chance I get to see them, I'm gonna go.
You really did. You manifested it.
And then they both were on the same in the same festival. I was like, oh, perfect. So I had to do it.
On a scale of day and night to Coachella, how was it?
Day and night was bad because we had to wait 3 hours in the parking lot.
Yeah.
I would say it was closer to. I think it was as good as Coachella for me. I mean, yeah, I think there wasn't as many.
Did you like the location that it was at?
Yeah, I think it was good. It was easy to get in and out of it. There was only a little bit of traffic on the second day, but I think there was more people there the second day because of the Strokes. Definitely the festival was not sold out, so it was like the first day was super easy to get in and out, and then the second day was a little tougher because there was more like trending towards youth acts. So that's so yeah, it was great. I would go to that festival, a festival at the Rose Bowl again.
That's cool. Was this the first year that they do this one?
Yeah, they were supposed to do it in 2020 at first, but then what happened? So yeah, this was supposed to plan 2 years in advance. I think because it was the same people that organized FYF, so they had to cancel that because the guy that ran it was like a douchebag, so they didn't want to be associated with that anymore. So then they like. So
this is what they did instead.
Yeah, I think it's like in that vein because like if you think of FYF, that's the LA festival. It was the same kind of thing. Like the Strokes played that back in the day, and then you would have like a random like. Frank
Earl
Ocean.
Sweatshirt.
Or Earl Sweatshirt, or like Frank Ocean was the last time we were at FYF. So yeah. So I'm excited to do that. I would go to this one every year instead of Coachella. I feel like I don't know, like it's just Coachella, like I'm just getting over it. And the acts are like trending younger now too. Because like Harry Styles last time, right?
And it's gotten so pricey to stay for like at a hotel or whatever, or Airbnb or whatever it is.
It's expensive.
Very pricey.
There's a story that went out that it was like somebody canceled from 4,000. Now they're charging 12,000 for the weekend.
Dang.
Yeah, just so because they could.
Because they can.
Yeah, and people will pay for it.
Yeah.
So
that's wild.
But it's up to people, I guess, to spend however they want because it is affordable if you're trying to make that trip out there. I wouldn't discourage anybody from going to Coachella if they've never been. But just for me, I guess, and I guess you feel the same way. Where it's like
for sure.
We've done it. That doesn't mean we're gonna stop going to festivals, but just easier to get around.
We'll go back when we get our stay comped.
When Beyonce performs again. Either or, both.
Whichever comes first.
Whichever comes first. So yeah, that was it about our week. So we're gonna get into the dark side of the light chasers.
Let's do it. Dang, I feel like we are really stretching this out. I kind of wish we could like hurry up the process, but I feel like we're doing it at a good pace because we're really doing it and like not rushing through it, which is what I tend to do when I read or listen to self-help books. So we're on chapter 7, I believe. And it's called Embracing Your Dark Side. Yeah. So Cesar and I have noticed that it's funny the way that she talks about herself and her healing journey. And she's just really relatable. So like I really encourage people to like, this is a good one to pick up if you're working on yourself and you want some more like to dig deeper, basically. Yeah,
I agree. It's very like it's easier to get into it when somebody's that open with how they feel, even to the point where you're like, hey, should I really be? Are you sure?
Are you sure you want to say
like this first draft kind of thing, or yeah, no, but that's why it's like, oh shit, like that's they put themselves out there, so it's like, okay, now I gotta come with that same energy, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's cool to do it with somebody because then we can talk about it, and I feel like that's another thing I need to start doing more of is like getting in like. Having these conversations with people that are doing the same thing because you like it's cool to get new insights from people.
It's true.
Yeah, so for this chapter the exercise was a meditation where you go into you envision yourself walking into a yellow school bus type of thing, and you basically go down and sit with somebody. The bus is full of people, like all sorts of like genders, hair, body types, everybody.
And they're all supposed to like, be parts of you, essentially.
Right. Possibly things that you've suppressed, or possibly things that you've just made wrong in your head and you decided like, I'm very much not that. When it's a strong like inclination to be like, to insist that you don't have a trait, like it's even more reason to address it. And so basically it's an opportunity for you to like sit down with that person, basically whatever comes to mind, because you're supposed to be like in a meditative state. So it's like, don't question it, just like whatever comes up, go with it and just talk to them and be like, for example, do you have an example actually?
Yeah, I mean, I try to think of like a trait, because it was like a trait that you associate with, like, every subpersonality is like one trait that you don't like, or something about yourself. And so the one that stuck out to me was like, well, why do I always have that self-criticism aspect? And so like I try to talk to that aspect of myself, and like why is it always like I'm always doing something and then thinking like, oh, like how are people going to perceive this? And then I always think of the negative way, or like, oh, this guy's trying too hard or something like that. And I was like, where does that come from? Yeah. And I feel like when I was in school, when I was younger, I did have a lot of moments where people like judged shit for like no reason. And that happened, like now that I think back, like it hurt me a lot at that age, because it was like, what the fuck, like I can't put myself out there without getting judged. I see. And it was like it wasn't like one thing specifically, but it was a lot of little things. Like somebody would be like, oh, do you really like that band? And I'd be like, yeah, why would I wear the fucking shirt if I don't like that band? Like I like I was a poser or something. And so little stuff like that. So then I always have that voice in my head that's like, oh, really, like you're trying to do this shit. See. And so I feel like that's where it stems from. And then that's where I try to present myself as a more calculated person, and where it's like, hey, I see. If I'm going to put it out there that I like this, it's because I really like this, or I'm an expert or something. And sometimes that holds you back from like being yourself as much as you can, Because
otherwise you hold back in fear of not knowing something, and then somebody questioning you.
Yeah. And then that's not how the real world is, like but it's a thing that, because it happened to me so much when I was younger, like I couldn't let go of that.
No, I can see that for sure. I could say that I do the same thing, and like it manifests in the form of like perfectionism. And it's like perfectionism is like, just, I don't know, like I realize that I use it as a crutch. And I guess like I think that that's part of the reason why we have that. For me, that's personally like something I do for sure. Because if it's not perfect, then I don't put it out, or I don't even like let myself work on it, because I see it as like black and white, all or nothing, and no like room for error. So like I want to write. I've been writing a lot more, but for me, like when I used to write papers in school, I had to write one draft. So it would take me forever, and I would leave it to the last minute because I dreaded like writing, but I was a really good writer, and I would always get really good grades on my papers. And then I always thought, like, imagine if I just put like more time and effort into this, like how much better it could be. Yeah. And so like that's something I still to this day am not so much anymore, but still like I could say that could be a reason why I don't do some of the things that I want to pursue.
Yeah, because you're holding yourself back in that sense. Yeah.
So yeah, I could say the same. So anyways, back to your sub-personality. Did you get a chance to talk to them in your meditation?
Kind of. I mean, I think that's kind of the conversation I was having in a less metaphorical sense.
Had you put two and two together before?
Not until I have thought about it. Because I have been thinking about, like, why do I always doubt myself in that way? Or, like, why, like, does it feel risky to put myself out there like that? And it's because I fear that I'm going to get judged, but it's like, people don't care. No. It's all in your head. Yeah. And so I was trying to think about that, because that's what came up when I was thinking about the chapter.
I see.
So, yeah.
That's really cool. I have not talked to any of my sub-personalities, but I have a whole list of what I've named them already, because she says that you have to name them in order to like make them not so personal about you. Otherwise, it's hard to address it when you see it as like yourself. Yeah. Anyways, I have a whole list.
Well, in the book, she has like names for them that are like alliterations, and I was like, I can't do that. I was like, mine just gonna. If I'm gonna name this person, it's just gonna be the self-critic, but it's not gonna be.
I see.
Self-critic Sally.
Why not? Well, you would do maybe guy names.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I did all women names, but it's hard to come up with you names for women. Don't let that hold you back. But yeah, what I need to do is, it just takes me forever because I want to be so detailed, I guess, with it, and like really spend time with each one of them. Like when I made that list before for one of the previous chapters, it took me a while, but it's worth it to get through it. And so that's what I'm going to do, is just meditate on each one of them and see what they have to show me or teach me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's harder for me to think in that way of talking to somebody else. So I have to like use kind of the same idea and try to rationalize it in my way. But it does help to have that, because then you can see all the sides of it. And that's what we're trying to do. So like, yeah.
Did it resonate with you when she said that you can talk to anybody? Like, whether you know them or not.
Yeah, that you can channel the energy of somebody and they can help you through the situation. And it's just by learning about that person, or like knowing kind of what you think, because it's all knowledge that you have inside that you just need somebody supposedly to tell you, but it's you yourself telling.
Because either way, you're gonna listen to what you want to hear.
Yeah. So it's like she imagined Martin Luther King, and then somebody else, right?
Mother Teresa or something.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a cool concept, and I understood what she was trying to say with that.
I feel like I ate mushrooms last week, and I feel like that opened up my mind, and like since then, like so many things are like making sense, because you know, it's one of those things that you've heard 100 times before, 1,000 times before, but it's like when it hits, it like feels like a breakthrough.
The light goes off, the light bulb. Yeah.
So thanks. Shout out to mushrooms for...
Special shout out to mushrooms.
Yes, for making it possible. Yeah, so for me, it's been mind-blowing stuff. So I hope that I'm excited to see what more we learn.
Yeah, and we'll continue to update you guys on the progress of that.
Hopefully you guys can join us on doing the same, and let us know if you do.
Yeah. So you ready to do the scenarios? All right.
Let's do it.
Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend to take down his wall of nudes in case my mom wants to visit his place? I'm a 24-year-old female dating a 25-year-old male who is pretty great in a lot of ways, but he definitely has this frat boy-like interest in porn and nudity. He has 2 entire walls of classy nudes from Playboy and various other places, delightfully framed and placed, that he's very proud of. I'm not a huge fan, but honestly, it's not the worst. The problem is that my mom is visiting me for a couple weeks, and no doubt she'll want to get to know my boyfriend and hang out with them, and maybe even spend an evening grabbing dinner or something at his place. He's a great cook, and I would love for him to cook for my mom. The problem is the wall of nudes.
The wall of nudes.
The wall of nudes. Am I the asshole for insisting that he take it down just for a few days, or if we know my mom has plans to visit? Like, it's the first time they're meeting. This is not the impression I want him to convey. He was quite reluctant when I asked him casually. Now I want to be more forceful.
Interesting. I think you're the asshole.
Really?
Well, you're not an asshole, because I get where she's coming from.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't really tell people how to decorate their own house, and like, who knows, like, why does she have to come over to his place in the first place?
Yeah.
Like, why can't he cook at her place? Or
yeah, they could get around that. And yeah, I think it is, I get what you're saying now, like it's his place, like they don't live together or anything. So this is just her, like, hey, yeah, like, why, if you don't want to have that, then maybe just don't go to his house.
Yeah, because it's like it can be beautiful. Maybe it is like over the top. Who knows? But no, she did say it's 2 entire walls, so it's a lot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I feel like it can be artful, like, and
Yeah, I don't
it's an
think
art
it's like
form,
disgusting or anything. I mean, if it's
Yeah.
he says they're tasteful,
Yeah.
then it's like, I mean, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a problem with that per se, because it's not like he's like sitting there like he doesn't use that to like do anything. Like he's just has it up at his house.
Yeah, and it seems like, well, she said like otherwise he's like a great guy in a lot of ways. So obviously, if you're dating him, you like him. So why try to change that about him? I mean, maybe if you guys lived together, then you would for sure like have more of a say. But
Yeah,
I feel like it can be avoided. And if she doesn't like it and is using this as an excuse to tell him, like, that's not fair either.
that's true. Yeah, and it didn't seem like it. She doesn't love it, but she's saying it's not the worst. So, so I think that I think she's an asshole for kind of trying to push it, but I get where you're coming from. So it's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, like you're wrong in this situation, but I get your intentions. Just don't have your mom come over to his place.
Yeah, you can get around it. It's fine.
Yeah. It's not a make or break for the relationship kind of thing.
And if the mom really insists, then just bring her over and she can just see it for herself.
You wanted to see?
The next one is kind of long, so we can split it.
Okay.
So the title of this one is Would I be the asshole if I told my daughter's boyfriend that she's active on a dating app?
Oh, okay.
Today has been a real trial, and I'm desperate for some opinions here. I'm a 47-year-old female. My daughter, Beth, is 24. She's been dating Robin, a 24-year-old male, for about 4 years. They have known each other since childhood and became very close friends in high school, and early into adulthood began dating. I also worked with Robin's mom for many years, and we all happened to live close. This relationship has been pretty serious, or so I thought, until today. And Robin has even mentioned the idea of marrying Beth, and I have given him my blessing. Not that he was going to do it real soon or anything, just brought it up at one point in conversation that he thinks she is the one. Well, today, Beth was visiting in the morning. We were talking in the dining room, and at one point she went to the bathroom. I didn't even notice her phone was still on the table until her screen turned on with a notification while I was near it cleaning the table. It was a message on OkCupid. I actually used the app myself a few years ago, so I noticed right away and my heart sank. I took a picture of the notification and confronted her with it when she came back. Beth looked real surprised and said that was private, but she was in an open relationship with Robin. I knew this couldn't be true, so I called her bluff by saying, "Oh, so if I message Robin or his mother about it, they would confirm that?" And she screamed, "Don't do that," and broke down. Dang.
When she regained her composure, she tells me that for a few months now, Robin has been talking about their future together, and it was around the time that she realized she didn't want to marry him or deal with commitment, so she turned to dating apps. She's been playing along with his talks about the future because she couldn't bring her honest thoughts up, and because myself, friends, and family always talk about how great a couple they are, and so they feel very pressured. I was totally floored by this. I told her that what she's doing is cheating and incredibly unfair to Robin, and she needed to tell him. Beth said no. When I asked why not, she said there's still a possibility that she may change her mind and settle for him. The word settle really angered me because I know Robin is a good guy and I can't wrap around her reasoning to do this. So I tell her that if she can't tell him what's going on, then I'll have to tell him what's going on. She got very defensive and threatened to never see or speak to me again as it would ruin her life. And after some back and forth of this, she stormed off, demanding that I back off and never speak on this subject anymore. I've considered sending Robin the snapshot, saying I feel like it's something he needs to know and let him act on how he prefers. I just want to know if this is morally the right thing to do or something I may regret. Damn.
Dang. She's in a tough position.
Yeah. I mean, if this guy's really like in love with Beth, then maybe.
I feel like she's got to tell him because she's not going to.
Yeah, and this because she knows like.
But at the same time, that's like
meddling in that life. Yeah, like just because we understand why she's doing it doesn't mean it's okay. I don't know.
Right.
But at the same time, if she's already Beth is already considering cheating, like what's going to stop Beth from cheating when she's married?
So maybe she needs to talk to Beth and be like, "Hey, you just gotta like end things and be honest, because like, I don't know, like in her mind she's settling, but like the mom, I don't know, like I feel like you can tell somebody all day long, but it has to come from them, you know? And it's like,
yeah, I think she should push Beth to say what happened, or like to be honest. Yeah, I think that's the solution, because you don't want to interfere in that sense and just fucking mess up Robin's life like that. Like that's, you know, like imagine getting that message, like, oh shit, from somebody like you'd rather hear it from the person that is doing that to you.
Yeah. So the question was, would I be the asshole if I told my daughter's boyfriend that she is active on a dating app?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Because it has to come from Beth. Okay, I'll start the next one.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I the asshole for refusing to change shirts to appease a bar's dress code? Last night, I, a 26-year-old male, was in line for a bar in my city. The line was pretty long, and friends and I were standing out there for at least 10 minutes. My boyfriend, a 27-year-old male, was inside the bar already with his coworkers who I was supposed to meet that night. When I was almost to the bouncer checking IDs, another bouncer came to the line and informed me that I wouldn't be able to get in because I was wearing a tank top. It's summer and very hot here, so it's typical attire for men. Several dudes behind me in line were also told the same. I said, "Really, dude, why?" and was told it was just the rule. My female friends in crop tops were apparently no issue. So we went across the street to a different bar, which was less crowded, cheaper drinks, and quieter music so we could actually have a conversation. I texted my boyfriend and told him we were at said bar because I wasn't let into the original one. He said, "I think I have a shirt in my car." I said, "Sorry, but I don't want to give my money to the first bar if they don't like how I dress." He said his coworkers really wanted to meet me. I said, "Okay, just come across the street. It's quieter here and we can actually talk." He refused, and instead, he and his coworkers ended up going to a different bar where I also couldn't get in due to the dress code.
There are at least 10 bars within a 2-minute walk, so there were several other options, including the one our friends were waiting at already. I refused to change shirts and ditch our friends who didn't want to go to the new bar, and they agreed that I wasn't being difficult to not wanting to change shirts. They are also my boyfriend's friends first and foremost, so they wouldn't have been expected to take my side. Long story short, my boyfriend and I argued and didn't spend the night together, and I didn't meet his coworkers. I was told I was being stubborn. I agree, but there are some things I stick to because of principles. So am I the asshole for not changing? He also edited in, because I think this gets missed. About an hour later, they leave the first bar and went to another bar. Instead of coming across the street where I was waiting, they went to yet another bar with a dress code that was just a few blocks away.
Dang, so they had a chance.
Yeah, so they were still going to switch bars. Damn. So who's the asshole?
Not him. Because his reasons make sense to me. Like,
yeah, like what the hell? Like, I wouldn't want to support somebody at a bar like that, because it's like they're just being dicks. And then
they had a chance. They had an opportunity to just walk across the street where he was and say hi real quick if they really wanted to meet him so bad.
Yeah. And so it was like it wasn't like, oh, they wanted to stay at the first place. Like, they moved to a different bar, and it still didn't work. It's like, you would at that point, like, oh, let's go somewhere we can all go together. So I wouldn't, if I didn't want to deal with that, I wouldn't. Yeah, like, I get it. So not the asshole.
Yeah. And who knows, like, maybe the boyfriend had a reason why he
That'd be difficult.
Or maybe he just needed to be in a loud place to tune out the world. But still, like, you could stop.
There's so many other places too. He said that they went to another one with a strict dress code again. And like, you could have gone somewhere else that had loud music. Yeah. If you wanted.
Yeah. True. But he was saying he wouldn't. Oh yeah, because he could have changed his shirt. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, you shouldn't have to change if that's what you felt like wearing. It's hot. I get it.
Yeah, and you're stuck to your guns. Sometimes it's like you have to be that person and stay to your principles and not switch to sell out like that, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was it.
Those were all good. I liked all three.
Yeah, they were good. I liked them. Thank you for picking those.
You're welcome.
All right, guys. That's going to be it for this week. Remember to follow us on Instagram. You can follow me at I am Cesar Rod on Instagram, and you can follow at the Rodriguez Show as well. That's my other podcast that I do that's music. and you can hit me up to produce your podcast as well. What about you?
You can follow me on Instagram as well at carlalarod89 and Plant Parenthood OC. And also, I'm on TikTok. On there, it's Carla La Rod.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Remember to take care of yourself and each other.
Thanks for watching. Bye.